evening. It's good to see everyone here for the October 27th meeting of the Meriwether County Board of Commissioners. At this time, we'd like to ask if you would please turn off any cell phones or other electronic devices until we can get through with the meeting. At this time, Commissioner McCoy will lead our invocation, and we will remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
If you would, please bow with me. Father, we just come to you at this time, as always, looking to you as the author and finisher of our faith. Father, we look for you to guide us in all decisions that are being made here this evening. Father, help us, undergird us, and give us the strength of conviction, Lord, that is necessary to handle the business for this county. Lord, and as always, just forgive us where we fail you. And all these things we ask in that name that's above all names. Amen. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our first order of business tonight will be to adopt the agenda. We do need to make one amendment. Under new business, if you'll please add number 6, to allow the chairman to sign the pension contracts with One America. With that being said, can we have a motion to adopt the agenda?
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
All in favor? The agenda is adopted. We have the minutes from the October 14th regular meeting and the October 20th special call meeting. Everyone's had a chance, I assume, to look over those. Do we have any corrections or deletions or any changes at all to be made to the minutes?
I move the minutes be accepted as presented.
Okay, we have a second.
Second.
All in favor? Minutes are approved. We'll now go to our municipal comments. We have Mayor Johnson from Woodbury. Do you have anything?
Thank you. Yes, I do. At our last council meeting last week, Carolyn McKinley was there and did a fabulous presentation on tourism together in Meriwether, and it was very informative. She put a lot out there that the people were not aware of, and the county is so blessed to have her. She is passionate and animated, and I was so pleased with everything that you did. Thank you for coming. You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Mayor Prater from Warm Springs.
Last Friday, it was my privilege to have 3 of Senator Isaacson's staff come and tour Roosevelt Country, and they were able to see some things in our area that we're doing and some things we needed. We especially went to the fish hatchery, since that's a federal program, and so they could see the need there, especially in education. I think I announced once before that we gotten approval for a USDA grant next Friday, which will be the 6th of November at 11 o'clock. The state director of USDA Rural Development will be in Warm Springs to present us the cardboard check, and we'll meet at the site of the parking lot. That's 11 o'clock. The commissioners are invited to come and do this.
Thank you. Are there any other municipalities represented? Okay, we'll move on to our constitutional officers. Sheriff Smith?
No, ma'am.
Are there any others? Okay. All right, we'll move on to our department heads, and we'll start over here with Brent.
I have nothing to
Chris? Patty? Bruce?
I just got one thing I'd like to mention. Most of y'all have said it. We pretty much finished up the disc golf course at Lake Meriwether. We still have some finalized touches to do to it, and did have a successful day out there Saturday. Completed the bridge. Only thing I got to do is put the handrails up. We built those today, as soon as it stops raining, I'll get those up on the bridge. We still blue matching all around the county, we still bush hogging all around the county. And the rain's kind of put a stop to the motor rate for right now, you know. Maybe we'll have a couple more weeks of good dry weather between now and edge of frost. It's over, we'll be out there great. That's all I have.
All right, thank you. Joey?
No, ma'am, nothing.
Abby with 4-H, you have anything?
I just have our coffee fundraiser. I know I told y'all about
Okay.
that and bombarded you with emails.
Okay.
But I do have a menu here. 4-H is selling coffee this year as our fall fundraiser. And that ends November 6th. So if you would like to purchase some coffee and support 4-H, this is how I'm paying for the kids to go to District Project Achievement, which is a big deal. It's a big research-based project that they go and compete with other kids throughout the state. So definitely need some money to take them to that. And this is how it helps. Their famous flavor is Jamaican Me Crazy. I've tasted it personally and it's delicious. So if you would like some, please come and see me. I'm in the tax building, 8 to 5, pretty much every day.
Thank you. Carolyn, you have anything from the chamber?
I do have one quick announcement. Many of you know Holly Winter, who works for Roosevelt, and she has been appointed as the new Presidential Pathways Tourism Product Manager. So she will be moving up to Chris Cannon's role, which that's great for her. Yes, and will also be good for us. Of course, she was heading up our mural project, so we will need to recruit someone to take over her role for that if any of y'all are interested. So, but thank you.
Miss Jane, I'm sorry, I skipped over you. I'm sorry. All right, is there anyone else? Have I left out anyone? Okay, we do have a need to go into a public hearing tonight. Can we have a motion to go into a public hearing?
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Okay, we're in public hearing. I'll turn it over to Mr. Gay.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Ron could not be here tonight. He is out of town, and he and I went over all of this and, addressed the issues ahead of time, so I'm ready. Presentation to the board tonight. First matter is Georgia M. Lay. This is case number 8. This is the estate of Georgia M. Lane, and it is located at 4852 Durand Highway, and it contains 31.97 acres and a house. It's currently zoned RR, which is a 10-acre minimum, and the estate is to be divided by will. And one heir will get 2 acres and a house. The other heir will get the remaining 29 acres. The rezoning request is to rezone the 2-acre tract and the house to RD, which is a 2-acre minimum, and the remaining 29.97 acres will be continued as it's currently zoned at RR. And of course, the recommendation from Ron Garrett and the recommendation from the Planning Commission is approval of this. And I do not know whether the applicant is here tonight. Yes, sir.
Let me see if anybody, I need to get you to sign here. Did you want to speak tonight, or anybody else want to speak on this matter tonight? I have a sign-in sheet up here.
Okay. I apologize. It's right here.
Yes, sir. Mhm. That's it.
Okay. Now, basically, all I need to do is just simply say that Mom didn't leave enough for everybody to have 10 acres. So, my sister over here is getting the house, and when we originally built the house for Mom, it was a 2-acre minimum at that point. So now, when we checked into it, there's a 10-acre minimum to build a house on. So we were surprised a little bit when we found that out. But I can divide up the rest of it, and that would be approximately 10 acres apiece for the 3 remaining siblings. So, and that's the reason we need to do this.
Okay. All right, thank you. Any other questions from commissioners?
The only thing you're doing tonight is taking out the 2 acres from the 31 acres you want.
That's correct.
And to go to RD, which 2 acres is the minimum for
2
that.
acres
So
is-
we're not making any allowances or whatever.
It is allowed, and it is the minimum acreage. And then the other, is right at 30 acres, and as he says, if he can work that and keep it at 10 acres minimum, he's fine with the current zoning on the back, so.
Yeah, the one piece of property, my sister's, one plans to keep hers and move down here later on, build a house on it. The other sister's moved to Washington, she plans to sell hers, and they think that they're basically got somebody lined up that wants to use it to come and hunt on. So that would be kept into a rural type of property for them.
Okay. All right, anything else, Mr. Gay, on this one?
No, ma'am, we just need to see if there's anyone else in the audience who wants to speak either.
Is there anyone else in the audience that would like to speak about this zoning request? Okay, all right, we'll move on. Go ahead with the
Yes, ma'am,
next one.
thank you. The next application is Angela Turner and others, and it is case number 9. There are multiple property owners, and they're requesting to rezone their respective parcels from LDR, which is a 5-acre minimum, to a A1, which is a 25-acre minimum, and for the purpose of conducting a commercial farming operation. The aggregate acreage to be rezoned is 34.32 acres, and we'll try to maybe hold this up where the board can see this. This is the property here that we're speaking of. This is kind of an outline parcel that's also included in that 34 acres. What they're looking to do is to raise cattle, goats, row crops, and all the parcels are accessed from Sewell Road by Ellis Place, which is a private road, which is right here in this area. The same rezoning application came before the County Planning Commission back in August of last year, and at that time it was noted that the parcels were not contiguous. Now they have reconfigured those to make them contiguous, as they were requested to do. And of course, the rezoning request from Ron's office is that is recommended to be approved. Now, there are a couple of things that are outstanding on this. The parcels that are with an asterisk, this one, this one, this one, this one, do have outstanding taxes. And since this application was made, there has been a policy of the board that the application process would not advance beyond, like Ron's office, until those taxes are paid. This application was pre-policy, that was before you had the policy in place. The problem, though, that it does is this: if for some reason these properties were to be sold at a tax sale, then you're looking at a situation where the property is no longer contiguous, nor would the properties have the minimum 25 acres to be able to classify. This property here is also going to need a special use permit because it's a smaller separated parcel, and it's going to need to have a special use permit to be able to account for a farm corporation row crop. And that's the application before you tonight. I did check on the taxes as of yesterday morning. They have not been paid on this parcel. I did speak to Ms. Turner, and Ms. Turner's here tonight, and she and other family members are to act.
This to sign.
Ms. Turner,
Oh, she's got one up there.
We got one
Okay.
there.
And I know Ms. Henderson also had some concerns and thoughts on this too.
Hi, how are you?
Fine, how are you?
Yes, like Ms. Jay said, we brought this before you guys past August, and we did not, our taxes were current. The ones that are not current are primarily William Turner's, my brother's. He plans on making those payments. He had some issues that I talked to Mr. Gay about, and it'll get done before taxes. It's only this year. He's responsible for this year. He'll get those done before this year is out. And outside of that, like I said to Mr. Gay, and I think I said to some of you others, we're not losing any more land. we will do whatever we need to do, not to lose any.
Any questions from any commissioners?
Just a point on that, there were 2013 and 14 on one parcel, the other parcels had 2014. Of course, 2015 is not yet due. It won't be due until December 1st or 15th of
I think those
December.
Benjamin Gaines that have, right,
Yes,
that's, yeah, and he has a payment arrangement, he's been making monthly payments to the tax commissioner.
What was his name, Mr. Attorney?
Benjamin Gaines.
Anything from any of the commissioners? Anything else? Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak regarding this zoning request?
I have a couple of issues with it. It's a highly unusual situation. Usually it's one tract of land and generally one owner. And unfortunately, I was preparing for trial last week, so I didn't get to look into it in depth. But I do want to make sure that the commissioners have as much information as I can possibly get them from a legal standpoint before they can make a decision. I did look into some other counties. Their zoning ordinance requires, a minimum of 1 acre or some, a minimum of 5 acres, and it's defined as a tract. So while I understand that our ordinance may not specifically address a situation like this, it may be implied, and there may be some state law issues as well that I want to look into before there's a decision that's made.
My recommendation considering that would be to continue, see if there's anyone else here to speak tonight, and if not, I'd continue the public hearing. Susan, you think we'd be ready by the next meeting?
I do.
On the 11th.
Right.
Are there any other comments regarding the zoning request? Hearing none, can we have a motion to go out of the public hearing?
So moved.
Have a second? All in favor? Okay. Do we have to go back into regular session?
Yes, ma'am. Need to go back into regular session. Probably need to vote on this first application.
Well, we will, but do we need to vote to go back into regular
Yes,
session?
ma'am.
Okay, we have a motion to go back into regular session. All right, second? Second. All in favor? Okay, we're back in regular session. We'll take these one at a time. The first one is the Georgia M. Lay. We're changing the 2 acres in the home over to RD. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
That's right.
What is
In the future, I've asked Ron to be able to put the district number on these where you guys will know, because sometimes a road may extend beyond the district, so I've asked him to do that on future applications.
All right. Hearing this information, what is the pleasure of the board?
Madam Chair, hearing the recommendation from Ron Garrett, I say that we go ahead and move forward and approve this, number 1, Mr.
Okay.
George M. Lay.
All right, do we have a second? Any other discussion? All in favor? Okay, it's approved. All right, on the next one, we've heard the recommendation from our county attorney and from our county administrator that this next one be tabled until we can get a little bit more information, and it also might allow time for those taxes to be paid as well, so take that into consideration. Can we have a motion to table this request?
So moved.
Now a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Okay, that one is tabled. Thank you. All right, under old business, we come to the courthouse wall. Do we have any?
No, ma'am, we're still working on that, and I apologize. We're trying to get that together. We just had a lot of stuff going on. I've got some figures. I just need to get it back and work with it where we can see what portion of it that GDOT will help us with.
Okay.
So we'll
Can we
bring-
have a motion to table that?
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? All right, next under old business is an intergovernmental agreement with the city of Woodbury for a special election in conjunction with a presidential preference primary.
That's something that I prepared, Madam Chair. It addresses the SPLOST that we discussed at the prior meeting, where we just want to clarify the use of the SPLOST monies, and Meriwether County has agreed to conduct that portion of the election for Woodbury in conjunction with the 2015 presidential preference election.
2016.
I mean, 2016, excuse me.
All right, do we have a motion to approve this intergovernmental agreement with the city of Woodbury?
I'll make a motion, we approve the intergovernmental agreement with the city of Woodbury.
All right, do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Okay. The agreement is approved. Okay, under new business, first we have to approve and allow the chairman to sign the 2016 Narcotics Task Force UPSN MOU.
Yes, ma'am. I've looked at this, and the sheriff is here. Looks good to me. What we're committing to is a couple deputies to be able to serve on this. It's also an arrangement where if there are seized funds or whatever, they're shared amongst the counties, and I know this task force has done a lot of good work in all these jurisdictions. It involves City of Thomaston, Upson County, Meriwether County, Taylor County as the parties in this. And we recommend approval. We've looked at it, everything looks good.
Okay.
These salaries
Are reimbursed.
to half of their salaries.
All right.
Hearing the recommendation from Mr. Gay, can we have a motion to allow the chairman to sign the 2016 Narcotics Task Force MOU?
So moved.
You have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Okay, next under new business is to appropriate funds for some capital purchases.
Yes, ma'am. We had talked to you guys, Bill, and had about setting up a capital fund to be able to allow purchases. There's some equipment needs in the county that we have, and we're recommending that you go ahead and appropriate those funds into this capital fund. And what will allow us to do is be able to manage that. And there's, like I said, some equipment, replacement equipment we need. I know there's a tractor we need, some other things, and it will come out of that. And this will be part of that replacement program that Bill has talked to you guys about for a long time.
So this is mainly to keep it where you can just keep track of it,
Yes,
where
ma'am.
we're spending
Yes, ma'am.
this
We'll totally, I talked with Charlie Middlebrooks this afternoon about that. We'll segregate those monies into a separate capital improvement fund. You know, very, very visible for everybody to see that they're there, and that's the only thing we can use them for.
And it's a good way to do it. You can put savings from the previous year. It's an incentive for the departments to save. It goes into the capital fund, and it helps buy equipment for the following year. So the good program works real well.
Hearing this information from our administrator, what's the pleasure of the board?
I move that we appropriate the funds requested.
All right, do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Yes, Madam
Uh-huh.
Chair, I do have a question. In appropriating this capital fund, will we be required to make any adjustment to the upcoming budget?
There'll be a budget amendment, but it'll be a zero transfer. We won't increase the budget, we'll decrease the general fund budget and increase the capital fund budget.
It'll decrease the general fund budget?
Correct.
Okay, so we have to make an adjustment to the budget?
We'll make a budget amendment.
But you still have the money, it's just in a different place.
Just move it from one place to another.
Have we decided on what percentage of that money will be when we make the adjustment, or you have any idea what that would be at this time?
We can either do it two ways. One, estimate the savings that we're going to realize by doing some changes in some departments, or do it on a as-needed basis.
Okay.
We're going to be
we'll
talking
talk about
about something in a few minutes or so that's going to save the county some dollars, and I think the initial plan was to use some of those dollars to be able to fund this capital.
And in that discussion, can you project what percentage-wise you think we can save? I mean, I know a lot of department heads had cut back, but my also concern is you can just keep cutting so much. What other avenues we were going to possibly look at to generate other funds for this project as well? So I guess that's the other thing I want to make sure that we look at.
Right, yes, I agree.
Any other questions or discussion? All right, all in favor? Next under new business is the discussion of locations for the shooting range project.
Yes, ma'am. We've been talking about for quite a while a shooting range, and the first step with that would be a shotgun range for the 4-H. And we've been looking around, Bruce and I and Mr. Buster, visited some spots. And we've come up with what we think is a good location. This is county-owned property, all here. And this is the animal shelter, to give you a feel for where it is. It's about 1,000 feet off the road, about 800 feet from any property line, and certainly from a shotgun standpoint, that's plenty of distance. This is all commercial type property, so is this here, commercial property. The property drops off at this location. We met the other day with a gentleman from the Department of Corrections, and we talked about cutting in to create the berm instead of having to build up. We build up on one end and being able to put it approximately in this location. I did call NRA, and failing that, I'm going to call the state parks people and talk to them about having someone come down and help us, locate this, help us, configure this and orient it like we need it to be, for the best program that we could have. And of course, Mr. Bruce and his crews are going to probably need to do some grading once we determine that exact site. But there's a little drive that goes in right by the animal shelter, and we'll provide some access and we'll provide parking. To me, it's a really good location. It's one of those things that one of these years this property will probably be developed as industrial or whatever somewhere down the road. And when it does, part of that transaction will be maybe relocating to another location. But in the meantime, it's county property, makes a great location for this, and we can support 4-H and others by construction. Then we also have dollars on hand. And we need to try to move forward with those and show some activity before the end of the year. So our recommendation would be to select this site, this location, and move forward with the plans.
Okay.
I think Mr. Bruce first put us on that, and it's got a great shape. It's almost like you're in a little amphitheater like when you go down in there, so it's well protected. And that will probably help with noise abatement also.
Hearing this recommendation from Mr. Gay, can we have a motion to accept this as the location for the shooting range project?
I'll make a motion, we accept the location that Mr. Gay just laid out.
Okay, we have a second.
Second.
Any discussion?
Yes, Madam Chair, I do have some questions. In reference to, Mr. Gay mentioned we're going to have someone, I'm sorry, I can't remember exactly, you said we'll come and look at it as well?
Yes, ma'am, there's an NRA grant that's there. I called them yesterday to see if possibly they could come down and just give us some advice on that. If they're unable to do that, I will call Becky Kelly at the State Park. She's the Director of State Parks. And I'll ask Becky if she has anyone who can come down and help us, because I know the state parks do have, ranges and various other things, and I'm sure Becky would be glad to help us. She's a real nice person. She'd help us any way we could. So what we want to do is we want to be sure we orient it in the correct direction. We didn't talk today about taking the sun into effect, because you got the shooting. A lot of things that we may not think about, that they may be able to say, turn it this way, turn it that way, and deal with it from there. So what we want to do is get the best facility we can get, and and we think this is a great location, and we just want to orient it correctly, and that's where they would come into play.
Okay. And I guess the other thing is, as far as the location goes and making sure it meets all the requirements that even the state may have of us. So would they require an engineering or drafting or someone to pull all this together?
I think that there's probably plans there that between Bruce's expertise and others, we can make work. The gentleman from the Department of Corrections, he came down to meet with us about animal shelter. I was going to talk about that in a few minutes. But if we can get this done and graded and ready to go, he'll probably go ahead and construct this for us while he's here.
Okay.
And that's a really good thing. I mean, we buy materials, or they can even help us get the materials in on the state contract bid, and they'll lay it out, they'll get it done. And it's a good program that we're going to take advantage of on the animal shelter, and I believe they're going to do this as well. Plus, Bill talked to them about, and it wouldn't be immediately, but Bill talked to them also about other projects that we're looking to do down the road that we might can get onto their schedule. and do it at a later date, well, again, saving us some dollars. And Department of Corrections, they do a good job.
All right, thanks for the elaboration.
Just a quick note, Mr. Nixon also recommended that we go look at the recent range he's constructed
Right.
over in Houston County. We thought that'd be great.
Yeah.
If they've already got one, they've already built it, this one will be a cakewalk.
And Commissioner McCoy and I said we were going to try to ride down one Saturday and look at it.
Is that over in Warner Robins?
Down.
Very close, yes.
Y'all give me a call, I'll ride down with you. Okay.
You gonna ride with me?
That's right. We'll get that truck ready.
Yes, we need to
All
vote.
right, now we need to vote. All in favor? Any opposed? Okay, all right, good deal. All right, next on the agenda, we have the resignation to accept of our Board of Assessors member, Jamie Willingham. Where is he?
Yes, ma'am.
Huh? Okay, there he is.
He is here tonight. He's hiding over there. And he did let us know that, Mr. Willing, come on up, please. And we also have with us here tonight, we have Greg Hobbs and Charles Hanna, our other two board members. And you have some staff members, I know, from the Board of Assessors. And Mr. Willingham has been serving with us for about, I think, 7 years or so on the board. Oh, a little over 6. And done a great job. I know you said you just thought the time had come to, do some other things and spend some more time with family. We appreciate, what you've done. The board wants to recognize you tonight for your service. His term runs through December 31st of this year, so what we'll need to do in further action is to appoint someone to fill that unexpired term. But I knew you guys would want to thank him for his service.
We do, we have a proclamation we'd like to read, so I'll stand and read this. This is a proclamation to recognize Jamie A. Willingham for his outstanding service to the citizens of Meriwether County as a member of the Meriwether County Board of Assessors. Whereas Jamie A. Willingham is a lifelong resident of Meriwether County and graduate of Manchester High School. And whereas Jamie A. Willingham having served in the United States Army and upon his return to the U.S. married his wife of 56 years, Pat Willingham. And whereas Jamie A. Willingham was a small business owner in Manchester for 20 years and later worked public relations for Carrick Services, a floral wire association covering Georgia, Alabama, and South Carolina. And whereas Jamie and Pat Willingham live on a family farm and they have worked all of their lives. And whereas Jamie A. Willingham was a 65-year member of Macedonia Baptist Church and a current member of Manchester First United Methodist Church, having served in various capacities. And whereas Jamie A. Willingham has always been willing to volunteer and help his community in any capacity. And whereas Jamie A. Willingham was appointed to fill an unexpired term on the Board of Assessors on September 22nd, 2009, and has continued to serve faithfully until his resignation on October the 27th, 2015. And now be it proclaimed by the Meriwether County Board of Commissioners on the 27th day of October 2015 that Jamie A. Willingham be and is hereby recognized and commended for his outstanding service to the citizens of Meriwether County as a member of the Meriwether County Board of Assessors. And be it proclaimed further that the Meriwether County Board of Commissioners does hereby extend its best wishes to Jamie A. Willingham in all future endeavors.
Don't deserve all that. Can I just take
Yes, you
2
can.
minutes, 3 minutes?
Yes, you can.
Being the shy, bashful person that I am, that's not my way of doing things. This young scared me now. Anyway, I'd like to thank the commissioners and the county for allowing me to, I think it's a privilege and an honor to serve the people. Because we as officers or workers of the county, we're servants to the people. Not us over there. You can, as old Grandpappy said, you have to be on both sides of the counter sometimes to understand the job that you're doing and the people that have to put up with you when you're doing that job. So it's an humbling experience to be able to, and a privilege and an honor to
service people and be with them. We've got a great board, especially since I'm leaving. But Greg and Charlie, this is the best chairman you'll ever find. Greg is so knowledgeable. I just really sit back, I didn't do much, because those two do it all by themselves. But I appreciate the opportunity and really thankful for having this experience of being helpful to somebody else. You know, you see people come in and some have lots of money, some don't, some got lots of land, and some don't. But when they come in with a problem and this group can sit down, the board can sit down with them and go through and tell them what the law allows us to do, and explain this whole situation to them after they've told us their views. And they go away happy. That's a very good feeling. But I'm proud to work with these guys here. Miss Kathy is one of the best secretaries you'll find anywhere if the board keeps straight. She's great. But I appreciate everything. Appreciate that on y'all still fun me tonight. I didn't deserve that.
Yes, you did.
Honestly,
Yes, you did.
no, I don't think so.
The Board of
Anyway,
Commissioners
thank
will give
so
you a
much.
compliment proclamation as well, so you have, and we do thank you for your service.
Get a picture.
Everybody come on.
Hey, one of the brightest spots I think that's happened lately is not this, but having a manager.
Commissioner, come on down here since the, can't stand.
Great morning, everybody.
Come on up here, Charles.
Am I in the way? Am I in the way?
Rosa, come on. I'm in the back. I'm fine, but make sure they see you.
Miss Pat?
Yeah, Miss Pat.
Why don't you
please
join
come
me?
up.
Come on, Miss Pat.
Ma'am, come on.
Just go over.
Miss Rose, I'm gonna get you come to the front, if that's
I know
okay.
me too, so
All right.
be on the back.
You just leave me over, Shirley. All right.
Tell me if I need to move. Tell me if I need to move.
You're okay. All right, on three. 1, 2, 3. And one more. 1, 2, 3. Thank you. Okay.
I guess y'all know too, that you set a precedent. Thank you.
Beverly has,
He's got his hand.
he's got it.
No, he's got his hand. It's in the thing. He's got it. I can have a copy. Would you like a copy?
Rick's got something in his hand.
Okay,
I gotta do that first.
go right ahead.
You'll be doing on behalf of Charles, Kathy, Joe, Lynn, Tina, Gene, myself. We wish you the best. We really do. I gotta tell you this. When I first got on this board, he looked at me and I looked at him and we were like, I don't know you and you don't know me. I'm just gonna tell you, as eloquent as that speech was that was written about you, there's no better friend on this earth than you have in this man right here. And that's something that I take over these last 4 years that I've been in this board. He's one of the best friends I've got, and he'll be yours too. I thank you for it.
Thank you.
We've been very, very lucky to have Jamie on the board because he brings some wisdom. He brought some wisdom with him that he imparted on us from running a business for 20 some odd years and other things he's done. He was able to look at both sides of the situation as the customer and the business end of it. That helped us dramatically, and Theron will attest to that from having been at the last meeting and watching firsthand how something was handled. And it's always helped. When you spend some time with Mr. Willingham, and I call Mr. Willingham, I don't call him Jamie because he's got 20 years on this book, but we've had several trips to Athens for the caveat in May, and you learn a little bit about somebody when you spend the whole day with them for 2 or 3 days. And one thing I found out that is from his childhood on the farm, he collected arrowheads.
Oh, wow.
And I thought I would present this to you as something a little different that you might enjoy. The arrowheads of the South, and you've got a collection of several hundred of them, and you can hang this on the wall to remind you of it. I'll tell John next time I see him up at Athens that you retired, and you met a man from Blakely who's also in the collecting business. And well, we appreciate your service.
Thank you so much. I don't deserve all this.
Yes, you do.
I'll keep it. Christmas has come early.
I did have an opportunity to observe their, I think one of their last meetings, there was a family there that was looking at some problems with their property in their tuba, and very impressed with the way that they handled it. They were very understanding of the concern, and while the people came in and, obviously were not happy or they would have been there when they left, they understood, they had a smile on their face, and they had a solution to what they could do to address the problem. And I think they did a great job, and I want to, mention that as well.
Thank you. All right, next on the agenda, we need to make the new appointment to fill the unexpired term, and I believe that goes to Commissioner Threadgill.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Madam Chair. I actually spoke to Joe Proctor, who did display interest in this, and he said that he would be willing to serve. So at this point, I would like to appoint Joe Proctor to take Mr. Willingham's place, not to replace him, that's hard to do, but to take his seat.
Okay. I'll make that form of a motion. We have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Okay. All right, the appointment's been made for Joe Proctor to fill the unexpired term. Thank you. All right, next on the agenda is to sign
Excuse me, I need to say that approve the resolution.
the one that we read. Okay, all right, can we have a motion to approve the resolution that we just read honoring Mr. Jamie Willingham?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
All in favor?
And also, the resolution for the appointment for the director.
Okay. All right. Now we need to approve the resolution to appoint Joe Proctor to the unexpired term.
So moved.
All right, we have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Okay. Thank you. You're welcome. Next, we need to have a motion to allow the chairman to sign the pension contracts with One America. And do y'all have some information on that or something you want to share?
Yes, ma'am. We're in the process. This is the One America where we're moving the pension investments and pension management over. Of course, when you do that, there's just a ton of documents that go with it. We're in the process of reviewing and completing those right now. And since we don't have another meeting for a few weeks and we'll need to get this started, we wanted to ask permission for you to be allowed to as chairman, sign those documents. We'll complete our review before we turn those back in. If there are some things that we find that need to be modified, we can come back and amend those at any point. So we would request that you be allowed to go ahead and sign those documents.
Okay. All right, hearing the recommendation from Mr. Gay, what's the pleasure of the board?
Hearing the recommendation, I make the motion that we allow the chairman to sign the pension contracts with One America.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
Any questions, comments? All in favor? Next, we'll have our reports from our finance director, Mr. Bill.
Okay, you've got a couple of reports in front of you. The first one is, first one I'm going to look at is the tan draw schedule, and the last one I gave to you is back on the 7th of October. Today's the 27th, and I'm happy to tell you that it hadn't changed any. We're still at 1.3 million. If you look over at the bank balance, you'll see a robust balance in the general fund. That's due to we received the check from the state insurance commissioner of $700,000 plus a strong collection of taxes at the first of the month. The only downside is half of that, $1.1 million, is going to belong to E.R. Snell Construction for the road paving, but that still leaves us $500,000 and we're pretty strongly that may the $1.3 million might be all we're gonna need on the 10.
That would be great.
But we'll know more by the end of the month to see where those collections are in property tax. That's a good report to hear.
It is.
Theron mentioned the guy from Department of Corrections that came down, Preston Mixon. I also took him over to Public Works. In the SPLOST breakdown, there's monies in there in the fire section for a maintenance barn. And we've been talking about it for about a year and a half, it seems like, and met with Theron and Bruce and Chief Tucker, and to save some money, we've come to the conclusion that we would add 2 bays onto the Public Works building and house the maintenance shop for the fire department there at that place. And Mr. Mixon said that was a good idea, and they could do that, and I think we'll be able to put that in line after the animal shelter and the shooting range to get that done, maybe while they're down here. We'll be able to save a lot of money by doing that.
Would have to save us some money.
Yeah. So, we'll probably be moving towards that direction.
Okay.
And that's all I have unless you have any questions.
Any questions for Mr. Bill? We'll hear from our county administrator.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Madam Chairman. Commissioners, just to kind of recap some things that, we've been working on. Of course, we had a Recreation Board meeting. We attended that. We held our department head meeting for October. Attended the dedication ceremonies from Mr. Hurd at Lake Marywood. I know you guys some even talk about that. It was very nice, very well done. It was a great event. We met, as Bill said, with the Department of Corrections to discuss assistance with the animal shelter. We're hoping that they will be in. They said possibly March, but I honestly think it'll be before then. We're moving forward with that. They can handle that project, very well. So we're looking at that. Attended the joint meeting of the Board of Commissioners and Board of Education. I thought that was an excellent meeting. Very impressed with the energy and the foresight that's on that board and the superintendent right now. And, I know that it's going to take everybody's efforts to keep that going, but I thought it was an excellent meeting. I attended the Export Highway meeting in Thomaston, got some more information back on that today. That was a good meeting as well. I think that could be if that can happen, it would be a game changer for the economy of a lot of places, particularly Meriwether County. Wanted also to thank Bruce and his group for their work on the countywide cleanup. It was this past weekend. And also want to thank, and we're going to send them a letter, and Bruce is too, want to thank Waste Management, C&C Sanitation, and Dependable Waste for their assistance. They stepped up and helped us with that program. Also, the disc golf program and the bridge they're building. I was down there Saturday, walked down, had an opportunity. Really neat. I mean, even if you didn't play disc golf, just walking through there is beautiful. So great job on that. Appreciate it. Cabin dedication was great. I think we've also provided some assistance to Warm Springs, at least started helping them with their parking lot and the numerous road projects. I know there's a lot going on right now, and everybody's trying to get that taken care of. Reminder, the ACCG meeting in Carrollton is November the 5th. I wanted to mention that to everybody. Y'all have also been invited to the Greenville Middle High Homecoming Parade. We'll send this out. That is Friday, November the 6th. The parade, the lineup starts about 6:30, and I'll send this out if anybody is interested. Also, if anybody wants to put a float in the parade, you can do that as well. So just to mention that to everybody. And the grant that we've been talking about for Lake Meriwether, the documents came in today. You got it. Fantastic. And we'll be looking at those. Last thing I have tonight is just something to talk to you guys about. And this is on EMS and emergency services. As you are aware, and we've been working on this for a long time, the county's been working on an analysis of our EMS service. And due to the complexity and the importance of this issue, of course, this analysis has been very in-depth and thus has taken a while to get done. It's one of those things we said in the beginning, we were not going to rush into this. It was far too important. The analysis also is just a part of a bigger overall picture of emergency services in our county. This is just one piece of the pie. We initially received interest from 3 EMS providers and ultimately received proposals from 2 different companies. After an extensive review, we believe the best proposal received from the companies was Grady EMS. They have an excellent program and they have an excellent reputation in the business. But we still have to address the fire component of our emergency services. And right now, we don't have a funding source in place to address fire service at this time. Now, considering that, our current EMS program also offers fire service, and our recommendation at this time is to maintain our in-house EMS service with some modifications to reduce costs and enhance revenues. And Ms. Shirley, you were asking earlier about some of the dollars. This is what we're looking at. We're looking at ways to reduce our costs. We're looking at ways to enhance our revenues and thus saving some dollars that we hope to be able to free up for other items. As stated earlier, this is just part of a bigger overall picture, and we'd also like to move forward with developing a plan for a future EMS and fire services and work toward establishing either a fire district or an emergency service funding options for the county. I think that's going to be critical long-term for sustainability of our emergency operations. In conversation with Grady EMS, they are willing to assist us in developing program options that we can put timelines to for implementation. And they have extensive experience in this field, and they can be a real asset to Meriwether County. We'll probably be bringing back some of those to discuss it with you in the future. We met with them today. They had, experience in EMS, but also there was a fire gentleman there that has experience in fire that I've known for a long time, and he is, top of the line. There's no doubt about that. Now, we believe that exploring all of our options and developing a plan for implementation is going to help us enhance our emergency services for all of our citizens. So the bottom line is right now we want to maintain our in-house EMS, but we want to work toward developing this plan, working with Grady, because I think they've got a lot to offer us in terms of some options, some ideas, and maybe some other services. I know it's been said they do a great job on vehicle maintenance. Maybe that's another way we can explore some of the options with them as well. And we have Chris here tonight, Brent here tonight, Bill's been in on all the conversations. We'd be happy to answer any questions you have. And I know there's been a lot of rumors out there. We want to meet over the next couple of days and explain where we're going and maybe put some of that, those people's mind to rest and give them some options that I think they will be very pleased with going forward. So, guys, any
I want to see
questions?
Chris and/or Brand would like to make any comments before we...
Ultimately, this has been a long couple of months getting from where we were to where we're at. And as Mr. Gay said at the outset, no matter what happens at the end of it, we're going to be better than we were going into it. I think that holds true. I think that there are some options that we need to look at. I think there's some opportunities coming up that we can take advantage of. But I feel very strongly that where we're at right now, by optimizing some of the operations that we do, is absolutely the right choice for Meriwether County. I don't want to close the door on any potential options in the future, but just like we presented you with a range of options that you can choose from in this day and time. I think it's going to be important that we're able to continue to provide the board with a range of options that you can go with. Does the board have any questions for me or any of the materials we've covered?
I do. Once again, Chris, thank you for all the hard work that you all did and bringing different options to the board. I think, once again, we do need to keep ourselves open for other things, because as the county grows, we know the infrastructure has to be put in place, and this is one of those major infrastructure that we need to look at. So once again, I appreciate the work that you all have done to bring to Mr. Gay as well as to the board. But I do think we need to keep as much dialogue open with other options, be it with Grady, whatever facility is there. One of the things that I expressed to Mr. Gay was that Grady does provide some very unique opportunities for us as far as in the event of an equipment being down, the turnaround time that they can fix it, their training. So once again, building that relationship with them, however that may turn out to be, I think is a good option for us as well. So I'm hoping everyone understand that it's good to get as much dialogue as possible, and I think we did that this time around. It wasn't something that we initiated, but I think because it allowed us to look at all our options in the process. I thought all together was good. Okay. So thank you all for all the hard work.
And let me assure you once again, those lines of communication are open, and there are ways we can make them more robust.
I just have one comment I want to make. Over the years, anybody who's followed county politics knows anytime you start talking about privatization, it brings out lots of emotions, good, bad, down, whatever. And I just hope this conveys to our employees that this board will never, ever make a decision right off the cuff. This has been a months-long process. We've listened to our employees. We've listened to the people who have approached us about providing these services. We have discussed it up and down, read numerous materials, and to come to this realization of where we need to be right now and where we hope to go in the future. So I hope that our employees will hear, you can trust us when we say we will not just make a decision arbitrarily. It will be after much discussion and as much information is gathered as we can to make the very best decision. I do appreciate Chris and Brent and for all of their knowledge they have brought to the table about the EMS service and their willingness to listen and work. I don't imagine this was on either one of them's mind initially when it was brought forward. I mean, not necessarily one to go, because it's been some hard months, and I know it has been. It's been for all of us as well, but thank you again for your participation and your help, Mr. Gay and Bill also for the information and guidance they've given us in trying to get to this point. So thank you very much. Any other comments from?
Madam Chair, I did have one comment. I have attended several of these meetings, and to echo what Commissioner Hines said, we didn't launch this program, but we certainly got involved in it there fairly deeply. And I don't know how we could have come out with a better compromise or a better decision than we did make, looking at the resources that Grady has and being able to reach out to them for expertise if we need that. I think it's great. So we've created a relationship throughout all of this, and that may be one of the strongest things we've done. Of course, Chris is working with his folks to basically restructure and reorganize and just come out with even I think a better EMS and maybe even a better firefighting group than we have. I think it's going to work that way.
Absolutely.
And that's all I have.
Thank you. Anything else?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Chairman, that's all I have.
Do we need to vote on any of that, or since we're staying where we are?
I don't think so. I mean, we're
Okay.
staying where we are, and we'll bring back anything for consideration of the board.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, this time we'll hear from our county commissioners. Commissioner McCoy.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. I didn't realize I was up there so quickly, and I will keep what I'm going to say very short. Of all the meetings that I attended last week, I think the one that impressed me so much was the dad cabin and being down at Lake Meriwether. It was gorgeous down there. The lake and the leaves were really putting on the show. And it was just great to watch the activity with the disc golf course. Just made for a great Saturday. And if anybody wants to jump in there and do a construction project for us, we'll be glad to help fund that like we did with the dad cabin. But anyway, that's all I have.
Thank you. Commissioner Plant.
I think the main meeting I want to mention was the one on the import-export highway over in Thomaston. A lot of us went over and learned quite a bit, but to me, that particular meeting, as citizens that will be affected by it, and I think it's a great revenue stream for, it's going to affect Georgia as well as Alabama. But from what my understanding, there's an anticipated 300% freight increase once that port of Savannah gets deepened, and they're anticipating 2017, 2018 completion date. We've learned that the state's divided into 6 zones as far as rail service, and that if we could get behind Manchester, it could come and
Inland Port.
Board. Thank you. I need all the help I can get. But that's entirely different than the highway. The highway's going to be running through from I-16 over to I-85, which it will cut across via Monroe, Pike, Upson, Meriwether, and Troop. And the anticipated use of that road, I will attest personally, on a personal level, that it has already increased and it's only going to get worse. So if we could start a letter writing campaign to Governor Deal and DOT Commissioner and anybody else that has the money that we need, 1.5 million, to begin the steady project that will actually enhance getting federal funding for that, but it will be a huge project once completed, and the hopes of relieving Atlanta congestion, because right now it's anticipated that the traffic in Atlanta from I-16 to I-285 to I-20 will only get worse. So just want to make those points, and there's a lot of literature that's out there on it. But they encouraging everyone to write letters. So for that, thank you.
No, thank you. I have just a couple of things. There have been quite a few meetings over the last 3 weeks. I mean, everything from A to Z, and I just want to express my appreciation to the commissioners who are giving up their time to get to the ones that they could. There's been times when all 5 of us have been able to be in these meetings, and there's power in numbers, and I do appreciate everybody giving up their time to do this, and it's been a lot of them over the last few weeks. One of them that we were able to do was to go up and meet with the Commissioner McMurray with GDOT, and we've received a letter back, and I just wanted to read a little bit from it. We were up there begging, is what we were doing. And we have gotten a letter and a confirmation from them that they will, since we've agreed to take on some long-term maintenance of a bridge, they have agreed to add the Dan Striblin Road Bridge over the CSX Railroad to their replacement program. That's really huge for us. We have not had that kind of commitment from them in many years, and we were told when we went not to expect any kind of commitment, and this is not the only commitment we got from them that day. But again, we went in force. Mr. Bruce went, and all the commissioners. I mean, we went up there, and like I said, we've gotten something and gotten a commitment from them. So the Dan Striblin Road Bridge will be replaced now. It'll be down the road a little bit, but they're also going to help us get some other things going with some other bridges, so we are appreciative of that. Mr. Gay also made mention of the grant for the Recreational Trails Program, and that is for a walking trail and equestrian trail that will be at Lake Meriwether. We have received that grant in an amount of $100,000. So kudos to, I know Carolyn and Bill and Bruce. I don't know who else worked on the grant, but I know at least those 3 did. We do appreciate your work on that, so hopefully we'll be getting that underway. And that's just another thing to add to Lake Meriwether. It was a beautiful, wonderful day, as they've already said, at Lake Meriwether on Saturday with the dedication of the cabin. I don't know, do we know how many disc golfers we had there? They seem to be everywhere.
We had about 52 players.
Okay. I mean, it was just really neat to see them. We were able to talk to a lot of them. They loved the course. They thought it was great. So I think they'll be back over there. So it's just another way to bring some people to our county, and they get to enjoy Lake Meriwether at the same time. But I want to express my appreciation to Beverly. She organized all of that, did refreshments, and it was super nice. And I know the family was very appreciative, and it was very nice there on Saturday. So thank you, Beverly, for all of your work on that. And just to echo one thing that Commissioner Plant said, and that is about the letters for the import-export highway. I would like for us to make contact with all the cities in the county, and let's ask for them to help us get letters from their cities. Then we need to do one from the Board of Commissioners. I would say the IDA, any of them that we can get to Governor Deal, to GDOT, and anybody else that you think that needs to get it so we can get this going. I certainly hope that the other counties at the table are going to be doing the same thing. So if we can get that on the...
We'll take care of that. We got the information today by email that allow us to be able to have the data. I mean, if anybody needs that information too, we'll be glad to forward that to them.
There will be some sample letters or suggested wording. They don't want form letters, but we'll be glad to give this information to you if it'll help you get a letter written for your city. But there's not a city in Meriwether County that would not be affected if this highway comes through. And like I said, and hopefully maybe it will do something, we can even do something for the inland port. Our only opportunity that would be with the railroad yard in Manchester, but we might as well go after it. And, so we hopefully get all the cities on board and the county will be on board. All right, Commissioner Threadgill.
I won't talk about any meetings, but the only thing I have to say is thank you to all the employees in Meriwether County for being patient with this board and everything that's come forward to us this year and allowing us to work through it, to educate ourselves on it and to be able to make the right choices, hopefully for you all and the citizens. And also to the citizens of this county for showing your support by coming to these meetings means a lot to all of us. And if you ever need anything, you just let us know. We'll be more than happy to address it for you. But again, thank you very much.
Commissioner Hines.
Well, once again, we have definitely had our share of meetings, but what makes going to all these meetings so good is that we do go in numbers. And it's noticed that we all come very strong representing Meriwether County. And I think because of that and the positive attitude that we have when we get there and the ability to be open to listen to things, I think those on the state level, we also have our state representative come to these meetings, and that's a plus for Meriwether County. We do go to a lot of meetings, and I'm happy to say we're very well represented. So you all should be very proud of this board as far as we are really letting people know how great it is to do business in Meriwether County and also reside in Meriwether County. So I applaud this board as a board altogether for the work that we're doing. The other thing I want to elaborate on to the mayor of Warm Springs and the work that you're doing there. The other day I happened to be in Athens and there was a slide presentation and it was indicating the 7 wonders of Georgia. And out of those 7 wonders of Georgia, Warm Springs was one of them. So that was good to know that we are definitely recognized. And I appreciate the fact that we are looking at options of ways to bring revenue into the county through grants or other programs. So the working with USDA is definitely a plus. And we have already set a meeting up with USDA Rural Development. I think it's November the 9th?
I believe that's right.
November to 9th. So we are looking at as many possible options to help build our county and our economic development as well. So for those Board of Commissioners, if you want another meeting to go to, where's it going to be? Here. It's going to be here.
What time?
1 o'clock.
1.
And the reason I want us to, once again, take advantage of the different opportunities. One of the things that USDA Rural Development will do, they have a lot of programs, and the one thing that I want for us to have a discussion is looking at programs that they offer to build fire stations. So my objective is to upgrade our fire station that we have in Primrose, because unfortunately there are some things that it needs some improvement on. That's it.
All right, thank you. Report from our county attorney, Ms. Henderson.
I don't have anything further than what I said. We will need an executive session this evening to cover legal and personnel issues.
Okay. All right, at this time on our agenda, we have a time for public comment. If there's anyone who would like to make a public comment, if you'll come forward and give your name and address, and you'll have 3 minutes to speak. Do we have anybody who'd like to make any comments tonight?
Yes.
Yeah.
Put this in the
We all go at once.
Hang on just a second before you start.
I'm gonna let you sign it too, sir.
Okay.
Hold on, Bill, don't stop. Stop.
Ms. Field, decide.
Yes, sir,
Just sign your name.
Just sign your name. Be fine.
Sure.
All right, go ahead.
Good evening, commissioners and citizens of the county. My name is Frederick Manley. I just wanted to briefly comment on a meeting I attended a few days ago, the recreational department meeting. County administrator was there. It was an energetic meeting, to say the least. But to make a long story short, I just want to encourage the board to keep the recreational department with the county. And I think that once the advisory board finished their findings, I think that there'll be solutions that will be able to help the county move along. I would hate to see it outside of the municipality, even though it has its vulnerabilities. I think years ago, some of you may remember, I think it was the animal shelter. It had some vulnerabilities. I mean, we had another group of commissioners here. I think a few of you guys served, maybe you was on that board at the time. But at that time, I think the commissioners were overseeing it for a while, and then it went, I think, to the sheriff department, and I think it went from there to Public Works, if I'm not mistaken. And that goes to show that, you know, if we can keep it in-house and keep it within this municipality, I think we can come up with a solution moving forward that would be great. So I ask that we hold off on any votes or surprise votes until we communicate with the board and see what they come up with to move us forward. But I think it will be a successful project going forward. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else who'd like to speak? Okay, if not, we will have a need for an executive session, but let me go ahead and mention our future meetings. November the 11th at 9 a.m. will be our regular commissioner meeting. November 24th at 6 p.m. will be a regular meeting as well. The offices will be closed November 26th and 27th for the Thanksgiving holiday. All of you are certainly welcome to wait until we get through our executive session and come back out, but if not, if you leave, we appreciate you being here tonight, and we hope you'll have a safe trip home. At this time, can I have a motion to go into executive session?
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Okay, we're in executive session at 7.